So love is supposedly a many-splendored thing and sometimes includes 7,000 post offices and many, many uncanceled stamps.
All right, here we go. I'm going to pretend I'm pushing record because that feels right. Okay, I'm pressing record. Boop. Hi, everybody. I'm Lauren Howard. I go by L2. Yes, you can call me L2. Everybody does. It's a long story. It's actually not that long a story, but we'll save it for another time. Welcome to Different Not Broken, which is our podcast on exactly that there are a lot of people in this world walking around feeling broken, and the reality is you're just different, and that's fine. So, quick rundown of the rules. We talk about this every time. If you want to know more about them, pop back to our first episode. First, I'm going to curse a lot. If bad language is a problem, sorry. Second, I'm going to tell a lot of stories, even on things that don't sound like they have stories. Third, I'm going to tell a bunch of dead dad jokes. It's just par for the course around here. And fourth, anything that comes out of your face is appropriate here. So you do not have to worry about filtering any part of you to join us in this space.
So one of my least favorite things to do, I say that, but that's not actually true. I really like building lists and like really tactical, like tangible, repeatable stuff. So like building lists of people to send marketing outreach to is like, it actually does really make me happy, though I do have a limit to how much I can do. And I'm really good at it. Like I'm excellent at it. The number of times in my career, people have been like, oh my God, where did you get this list? This list doesn't exist. And I'm like, I made it. It's all publicly available information. I just copy and paste it a lot. And people are like, really? Do you do that? That's like a base skill that everybody has, and just copy and paste it. Probably the most effective method of building a referral base in medicine from other clinicians is mail. It just still works. Clinicians read their mail. And especially if there's a service that they're always looking for, if you send them mail, they tend to read it, which is reliable. And so we've been working on some mailing campaigns, and I'm trying to do it the cheapest way possible for very obvious, very cheap reasons. Postage in the US right now is just insane. Like one letter is like 78 cents. And I promise there's a point here that is not about postage. Though I do have a lot to say about postage. By the way, just for the record, people talk a lot about how the problem with the post office is that it is not profitable. And that's the issue with the post office, is that it's a poorly run business. The post office is not a business, it's a service. It was never supposed to be a business. It's a government entity that was supposed to provide a service to make it possible to get information from one side of the country to the other without having to get on a horse and take it there yourself. The funding issue with the post office actually has nothing to do with the services that they provide. It has everything to do with the fact that for some reason, not that long ago, they were required to fully fund their pension fund up front. And it basically bankrupted the entire industry. It's not how you run a pension fund, but for some reason, there were completely different rules applied to their pension fund, and it bankrupted the entire organization across the government. So anybody who has issues with the post office can bite me hard. There's nothing wrong with the post office. It's not my favorite place to go, but also the people there are mistreated. And also the people I talked to yesterday in trying to deal with this postal situation were lovely and delightful and really, really nice to me. Aww. And also I called and talked to somebody, and she was also very lovely and delightful. So I'm just saying, be nice to postal employees. They're under a lot of stress, and it's not a business, and we should not expect it to operate like a business. It's not supposed to run at a profit. It's supposed to be an entity that makes communication possible. Anyway, that is not what this is about, but because I said it's not what it's about, I realized that there was a part of it that I wanted to make it about. Anyway, in the US, if you do some of the work for sending out mail, when you're sending out a lot of mail, which we're probably going to do, they'll give you discounted postal rates. And it's like half. It's 78 cents to send a letter right now, which is wild. And if you do it pre-sorted, which there's a whole process for, you get a permit, whatever, it takes it down to like just about 40 cents, which is like a giant difference, especially when you're running on the margins that we are. And there's actually a lot of really good information online, but it's not complete. Like, it's good information if you already know what you're doing, but if you're trying to cobble together how to do this process, it's not so great. And I knew all the right words, but I didn't know what order to use them in. Basically, it was the problem I was running into. So I had asked my husband if he would go out with me to this place because I just like having a bodyguard when I go to unmarked postal offices, I guess. And also, like, I'm not great with directions, and I like to be a passenger princess. Whatever. So he said we would go, but then we realized our daughter had an orthodontist appointment, and so he had to take her to that. And he called me on the way back and said, do you want me to take you to the post office this afternoon? And I was like, everything I see online does not make it clear that this place is actually open, because you have to go to not any post office, it's a very specific post office that has a very specific room that you have to go to, unlike most postal systems. And if it's not this one, the closest one is like 2 hours away. And I live in a big city, so it's wild that there's only one. It was just like this really complicated situation, and everything I saw online said that the business unit was closed and that you couldn't even access it. Again, the closest one was like 2 hours beyond that, and I was just already overwhelmed with so much stuff. I just said to my husband, I was like, I can't even figure out if it's open, and I don't want to drive out there and find out that it's not. And so I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. I don't know. Because I had questions and I wasn't sure how to do certain things, and there's all these online options, but I didn't know which one was the right one. And we have a lot going on, so I just needed to focus on other stuff. So it was a couple hours later, and I figured maybe he took the girls out for lunch or something because he had been gone for a while. And then he calls me and he says, the one that you thought it was is correct. And I said, did you go there? And he goes, no, I went to 2 other post offices and asked. And I was like, oh, well, that's a lot of driving. Like, our post office, it's not like post offices are like right across the street from each other. Like, we live in an area that has been exploding for the last 15 years, and we still don't have a post office. We have to drive like 25 minutes to get to the nearest one. He actually like did some traveling to go to 2 different post offices. And he was like, but the one they confirmed it's open, they called over there, it's open, so we can go there. I said, oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And then I expected him to come home. And then I looked at the clock and I was like, it's 4 o'clock. They close at 5. I think it's only 20 minutes away. I could probably get over there now, and I have a little bit of time. Maybe I should just bounce over there. So I called him and I was like, do you think I should just run over there now? And he goes, I'm standing here with the lady right now, and I'm going to put you on speaker and you can ask her all your questions. He was like, she's got all the boxes. She's got all the labels. You can just ask your question. She'll give me the stuff. I'll bring it home. And I was like, you did? You went? Like, I didn't ask you to do. Okay. So he puts me on speaker and I was like, hello, stranger person. And she was so nice. She was so super nice. And she was like, okay, so you're going to go online. You're going to use this. You're going to have to print this out. You're going to need these things. If you already printed your labels, you might need to reprint them. If it's already on your envelopes, you're going to have to put the barcode on. Once you do this, then we can do these other things. She walked me through all of it. She was like, you need the pre-canceled stamps. You can get them here. We don't carry them here. She gave him all the materials. She was so nice. Then she gave me her direct line, and she was like, you can call, you can speak to me, you can speak to these 2 other people. We'll walk you through any problems that you have. Or the other thing you can do is you can package it all up, bring it here. We can do a test run. Make sure you did it all right, because it's a little nerve-wracking at first. It's not hard, but it can be a little confusing. And we'll do as many test runs with you as you want. And if you do it wrong, we just cancel them out, and you don't pay until it goes into the ether anyway. And I was like, you're so nice. Can I buy you a cup? You're so insanely nice. And so she said, okay, but the only thing I can't do, I'm going to give him the packages, I'm going to give him the boxes, but the only thing I can't do is the pre-canceled mail or the pre-canceled stamps. He's going to have to go somewhere else to go grab those. And I was like, okay, we can get them tomorrow. And he goes, no, I'll go get them right now. It's not that far. And I was like, okay, but that's like the 4th post office of the day that you're going. That's a lot. That's so many post offices. But he did. He left and he brought me home a package. Like, if you know me, you know I like research. He took something gigantic and insurmountable off my brain without asking, without needing instruction. He just did it. He could just tell that this thing had overstimulated me, and the sheer risk of failure was enough that I might not do it, but that it was really important that someone needed to figure it out. I think that's the most important part. Someone needed to figure it out. I was acting as if I needed to figure it out because, of course, you think these control issues are new, but he took the initiative to figure it out. And I was just thinking about it last night as I was going through my very happy stack of documents that tell me where I can get, because he couldn't get the pre-canceled stamps, but he also didn't realize that he got me a document on it. And now I know where to get the pre-canceled stamps, and I was able to get it set up this morning so that I can order them, because that's apparently a thing that you have to do. But I was thinking about it last night, just the sheer amount of stress that was no longer on my brain, or even just the fact that I knew what the challenge was now. Before that morning, the challenge was, am I even going to be able to figure this out? Is there anybody to help me? Is there anybody I can call? Is this place even open? Do I have to actually put pants on and go find out if this place is open? What's going to happen if I put pants on and the thing is not open? In the light of all of the other 10,000 really difficult things that are going on, how hard am I going to take it if I can't get my cheap postage that I so rightfully deserve? For somebody to just show up, I know he's my husband, but still, this still shocked me. To just take care of it. To just know, like, this is out of her wheelhouse right now. This is not something that she is capable of right now. I'm going to go take care of this. And to come back with not only all of the answers, but all of the tools that I needed to do it. It was just this, like, beautiful picture of, I guess, what love looks like when you've been married as long as we have. We're coming up on, like, 15 years married and together a lot longer than that. And it is really, really easy to forget that there was a reason that you married this person to begin with. And I obviously love my husband dearly, and he is very good to me. I'm also very good to him, but he does stuff like this all the time where if there is a solution that is escaping me that I can't just reach out and grab, and it's something that he can figure out, he'll just go figure it out. But it was like 20 years ago, it would have been date nights and flowers and shiny things. And almost 20 years in, it's stacks of paperwork that make me very happy that I can take notes on and highlight, and bins from the post office, and just something off of my giant never-ending to-do list that is percolating in my brain and causing me so much stress. And for somebody else, that might be their nightmare, for somebody to just show up and handle something like that. But he knew that this particular thing was sidelining me in a way that maybe it shouldn't have. Other people who are more likely to leave the house all willy-nilly, you people who just like go outside all the time, would have just been like, oh, let's just go see if the place is open. My brain could not process that. And so him being let's just go see that the place was open, took a car full of our kids. It's 2, but it feels like a lot. To go to 7,000 different post offices to get this done for me so that I could focus on the 7,000 other things that we have going on. And it felt like kind of the greatest display of love and understanding that I think I've felt in a long time. And now I have postal bins and labels. And if you know me, you know I love a good label. I now can put barcodes on everything, which also feels very legitimate. And I could also become a commercial postal center if I wanted to, because I have a permit now. And maybe that's the future. Maybe we'll get out of this healthcare thing and we'll start mailing shit. But at a minimum, if you get a letter from me, know it cost me about 40 cents as opposed to the 78 cents that it should have. Because I sorted it myself into separate bins with labels.
For this week's small talk, again, remember this is something we do every week.
My husband and I have been married a long, long time, and there's rarely anything about him that surprises me anymore. In fact, I can very much predict, like he'll walk into my office and literally before he can open his mouth, I'm like, you're not dying. Because it means he's found some new ailment. And he'll be like, I don't know, I think I have armpit cancer. And I'm like, you don't have armpit cancer. But like there's a way that he walks into my office that I can hear in his gait that he's about to tell me that he has a new man cold and it's going to kill him. We took the kids for my oldest birthday to stay at a hotel nearby, and the kids were swimming, and they're finally good enough swimmers that we can kind of let them be a little more willy-nilly. And so there was this big water slide. They were going up and down. They loved it. And he was like being dad at the bottom of the slide. And he had like his hat on, and he was a lifeguard for a long time before I met him. I decided to go in the hot tub, and he was still in the pool, like catching the children as they came down the slide. And And I looked at him and he just like looked like a lifeguard. And I was like, I find this kind of attractive. I don't know what's happening here. What is happening that I find my husband attractive? This is weird. I might need an adult. What is happening? So that was interesting and fun. But then our youngest, our kids' birthdays are 19 days apart, which in the middle of the recent chaos has been just a blast. And I don't know that they've gotten the best version of mom for their birthdays, but we'll fix that next year, I guess. My youngest wanted a garden party. I don't know where she got this idea. I said, what do you mean you want a garden party? She was like, I want a garden party. What is wrong with you, Mom? And I did not have the time or bandwidth to dedicate any thought to it whatsoever. As far as I was concerned, we were going to show up in flowery dresses and have a plastic tea set, and that was going to be the garden party. So he had told me he was working on something. He basically made it clear that he had it handled. He was going to take care of it. Okay, fine. My youngest told me 2 days before her birthday that she wanted a special dress to wear. And usually I get her like a shirt with her age on it and like a tutu because she loves tutus. And she said, Mom, I want a dress. And I was like, I wasn't understanding. And our nanny said, I think she's trying to tell you that she doesn't want another tutu. She wants like an actual dress. And so I'm like, oh, shit. I have 2 days to figure this out. So I said to her, I was like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this in time. This is a very short timeline. And it didn't occur to me to actually go to a store. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to order one in time. Did you know they have these places where you can go buy things in person? This is new to me. Whenever I was younger, when I wanted a cute dress, I would go to Dillard's. And I was like, do they even have Dillard's anymore? They do. There is a mall that is not that far from our house, like 20, 25 minutes away, that is like desolate. Like it's empty. And so if I'm going to go to a mall, I'm going to go to that mall. But I also didn't know if the Dillard's had anything in it. I thought it would just be like a wasted husk of a Dillard's because like literally the mall is empty. The stores that are in there, there's like a theater, there's like a gym, there's like a paint your pottery place. Like there's not a lot of retail left in there. They're trying to survive, basically. I said to her, do you want to go shop for a dress? You and I can go and just have a special day. And so, of course, she wanted to go. She tried on dresses for the first time for her 7th birthday. She had never been in a fitting room before because that shows you how often we leave the house. And she did find a dress that she loved. And it was not the sparkly, frilly, tooly dress that I thought she was going to pick. She picked it. I had nothing to do with it. This very understated floral dress that like fit her like a glove. And it looked amazing. And it was so cute. And it looked like it belonged to a garden party. And I was like, great, awesome. She got a dress. She was very happy with it. And then she kept walking around going, okay, well, I would also like this. And I was like, no. And she was like, but it's my birthday. And I was like, that doesn't mean you just get everything. And she was like, what do you mean? It's my birthday. I get what I want. And I was like, no, that's not how, I don't know who you think I am, but that is not how this works. Not at all. We wandered around a little bit. And then I took her to Five Below. I'd never been to Five Below before. I walked into Five Below. I immediately texted my husband to say, I made a mistake. I took our child to Five Below because holy crap. And I was like, apparently this is where all of my dopamine was because this place is like an impulse buy hellscape. I just like kept grabbing shit. I got a desk vacuum. Plugs into USB. I can vacuum my desk. It doesn't work. I mean, it's filled with glitter because I spilled glitter on my desk the other day. But I didn't need that. But it was $5 and it made me feel good. And so I think I'm going to go to Five Below and get some more stupid shit. She also ran around the whole time going, this is the best place I've ever been. She made me buy her a disco ball for her garden party. We brought it all home. But while we were out, my husband had been setting up this party for the next day. And when we drove up to the house, glad the neighbors weren't looking, because if they were, the police would have been called. He literally like came outside and like put a bag over her head. I was like, close your eyes, you're not allowed to see. And he like ran upstairs with her. He did take the bag off. She's fine. But just so that she wouldn't see anything. And so I walk in, and this man has turned our dining room into a full garden. There were curtains on the outside, like our dining room is open to our living room. He hung a curtain rod, hung curtains. On the inside, there were curtains on the wall. They were sheer, and he put twinkle lights behind them. There was garland all over the tops of it. He put butterflies into the curtains. He stuck little bees everywhere. There was this beautiful tea set. I have no idea where he got it. I think it might have been his mother's. I don't know. He got little tiny tea sandwiches and all of these like jams and scones and all of these little foods that you eat at tea parties and garden parties. He got the girls gloves, these like lace gloves so that they could be fancy. And they had like, I guess, headbands and fascinators and whatever. The bow that I got her that matched her dress was immediate trash when she saw the fascinator. She was like, I need that headband on my head right immediately. And I was like, oh, well, I will just go fuck myself. That's fine. Without help. He just like turned himself into a Pinterest mom for a minute and magically turned our whole dining room into this beautiful area that is so pretty that it's still up. It's been over a week and I would not let him take it down because it's that pretty. And just because this kid said she wanted a garden party, he got her a bee cake and he bought all of these like tiered dessert stands that he like filled with snacks. He bought a charcuterie board or a charcuterie tray. I don't even think he knows how to say charcuterie. And it was beautiful. And like my mom came over, his mom came over, and everybody just keeps walking around going like, this is just beautiful. Like, it's not like I have an ugly, trashy house. Like, our house is pretty nice regardless. That room itself has like mirrored detail walls like that we paid a lot of money for. And this is better. So yeah, he's just been knocking it out of the park lately. And I bet if I was a full-time kept man, I also could knock it out of the park as such occasionally. But I'm not. Which I had to get that in there because I just had to. So happy birthday to both of my children. But also, my husband is a Pinterest mom.
Thanks for being here, guys. Have a good day. Love you, mean it.
Listen, there's this like little whiteboard container thing. It's got a little like a whiteboard you can draw on. I'm also realizing that my children have already damaged it and it's broken now. Awesome. But like I've seen it on Amazon for like 2 years and every time I go to buy it, I'm like, I'm not spending $30 on that. Well, it was $5 at Five Below. And so I bought it. Now it's also already broken and my children have destroyed it. So like every time I'm a little sad, I'm like, I should go to Five Below.